So welcome to today's show wrap-up from Surface Mount International, or SMTAi International, should I say. Who better to do it with than my two friends and colleagues, Keith Bryant here, and of course Tom Forsythe from KYZEN.
Glad to be here, Trevor.
Yeah, it's good to see you. So let's kick off with, the show has moved back down here from Minneapolis last year. This is its first year back in Chicago. What's the feeling? What's the feeling on the floor? What's the takeaways?
Well, I think first off, the feeling on the floor is there's some bustle. It was crowded.
Right.
It certainly felt like there's more people here. I haven't heard any official statistics or anything. Mm-hmm. And I think in general, it's a more central location. It's an easier place to get to for both the flyers and the drivers.
Yeah.
And so I'm a fan of the Chicago location. Rosemont is an interesting place up here. You know, if you're a tourist, it's a terrible choice. Yeah. But if you're going to a trade fair, it's a wonderful choice.
Wonderful choice. Well, you know, it's funny you should say that. I mean, people driving, making it easy to get here, because we started out with this crazy 4 to 7 slot on the first day, which...
It was novel.
But people turned up. They actually
people showed up, which was really...
So it worked.
Was remarkable. Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're obviously co-located with the Assembly Show,
right.
And the Assembly Show has done that, according to the guys I've spoken to over there, for years and years and years, and everybody loves it. And I think now, if we're doing the same timing next year, mm-hmm. people will be a lot more calm and relaxed about it, because people were apprehensive. It's effectively opening a show for 3 hours.
Yes.
But a load of people came. There was a load of interaction. The people on the floor that I've spoken to said, "Yeah, we saw a lot of customers, and we weren't expecting anybody, and it was really good."
Yeah.
So
yeah, no,
and I think it comes back to that driver thing.
Yes.
You know, if you're driving, say you're driving for 3 or 4 hours to get here, you're a fair distance away. Mm-hmm. Well, you get up in the morning after rush hour, you get here, you find the hotel. Oh my gosh, the floor's open in an hour. I can wander over there and get a jump on things.
Yeah.
It was puzzling, but I think there was
someone
clever came up with that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whenever that was.
I don't know how they found it, but
right.
Yeah,
it worked.
It worked.
Yeah. So, Keith, you've been doing a lot of chairing sessions this week, so you're obviously going to have some good feedback on how the conference has been. What's the attendance been like, and what have the presentations been like?
Well, conference attendance. We've had 40 to 50 plus people in pretty much all of the presentations that I've done in the six sessions that I've been involved in. So really good level of people, mm-hmm.
Great
presentations, a lot of new younger faces from academia, right. Where these guys have the time to do a lot of research, mm-hmm. but they're doing it in partnership with maybe soda paste suppliers. They're doing it in conjunction with equipment suppliers, and they're doing what I would describe as really useful for industry type research,
right.
rather than pure academia. So that was probably the biggest change, was a load of those presentations from younger university graduates and
I noticed
postgrads.
a lot of younger people on the floor this year.
But they were presenting really useful information, solid data, mm-hmm. really well backed up with experiments, good design of experiment. The whole bit was what I would just describe as, sound research.
Good.
In terms of things that people were really interested in, and it falls nicely into Tom's lap being next to me, cleaning and conformal coating were the bigger hot topics, apart from still low temperature solder.
Right.
There was a lot of low temperature solder as well, yeah.
Yeah, there was, yeah. But I mean, cleaning and conformal coating, as we were talking about before we started, there's a lot of room to grow there.
There's a lot of room. It's a big part of the market that hasn't done it in a long time, and therefore the technical staffs either have no experience with it, or it's very time-late experience from way back when.
Yeah.
The SMTAi programs are the perfect place to go and get updated on, well, how are we doing that today? I haven't thought about that in 10 years or longer.
Yeah.
So it's a really good match, and of course cleaning and conformal coating do complement one another, mm-hmm. in that while you don't have to have coating after cleaning, and you don't have to have cleaning before coating. That second one's highly recommended.
I was going to say, yeah, you don't have to, but you don't have to wear your seatbelt in a car. But
Right, it's highly recommended. Well, there are practitioners that make other choices, but
yeah, exactly right.
But in general,
Doesn't mean they're right.
But they're sure.
So looking at the show floor, I mean, you've had a lot of time to mingle around the people on the show floor and get the temperature of what's happening in the industry. Obviously, we're a couple of weeks away from the presidential election, so the market's been a little bit flat, but people are expecting to see things coming out the other side. Well,
that's kind of the people. Some people are starting to see it. It's been on the expansion side where the capital equipment sales go. It's been a bumpy year for people,
right?
Kind of across the board, not anyone in particular, and that's been going on for some time. We're starting to see shoots, hear about shoots.
Yep.
I know on the consumable side, we've seen a bit of a pickup, but ours is incremental pickups. It's like you have to go to the barber every now and then. Right? Any particular day, nothing changes much. So I think there's been great trepidation about the election. Between the press wanting to sell clicks in newspapers and the politicians doing what they do.
Yep.
A lot of people are tense, and when people that spend money are tense, they keep their wallets in their pockets.
Right.
And I think there's been an awful lot of that going on. I mean, there were elections in Mexico. There's dynamics going on there, and of course that's a major part of the North American market nowadays.
Well, that's true. That's true. And of course, there's a lot of trade, it's electronics trade going back and forward across that border.
Tremendous amount.
If there's going to be tariffs coming in and things like that, that's potentially going to change things quite a bit.
Well, and the change in the judiciary in Mexico. There's overseas companies, even the domestic companies, but worried about maybe that turns out great, maybe it doesn't. Everyone hates change. Sometimes it doesn't even matter what the change is. So that'll take some time to unfold and to lay out. That may be a bit of a damper on Mexico. Regardless of what happens in the election here.
Right. Coming back to the show floor here, anything interesting or innovative that you've seen or heard around the show floor?
I'm not so sure about innovative, but what was great to see was that there's actually quite a bit of the machine people brought quite a bit of kit with them.
Right.
If you think about this show 10 years ago, it was unusual to have a machine in a stand, and it's not.
No.
And I think that's a positive thing. I think that's good for the visitors because they get a much. They can have a much more in-depth experience with the tool, with the specialists and the experts that are standing next to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's good for the show because knowing that's here, that will help bring more visitors. And I think as people look around, someone that didn't bring their tool this time will probably have it in the stand next year.
Next year. Well, I was actually talking to one customer who does have equipment here, but he's talking about taking probably 3 to 4 times the size of the booth and bringing more equipment next time.
Because the thing about SMTAi is all the right people are here.
Yeah.
And it's particularly as we look into next year, there's great hope that the day after the election day, everybody's order books are going to be overflowing. That's probably a little optimistic. Yep. Okay. That's all that money. The accountants have done their job. They've taken all that money back and. They're working on next year's budget and that kind of thing. So I think it bodes well for, Apex in the spring and SMTAi in the fall, because next year, with a little luck, we'll be on kind of an upswing.
Yeah.
I mean, manufacturing in general in the U.S. has really been in a recession for 2 years or so.
Right.
The official statistics on the PMI and all that stuff, they've all been underwater for quite a while. And I expect that's going to swing over the course. Sometime between now and the spring, that's going to change. We're going to get back in a growth mode, particularly in the electronics world.
Okay. Yeah. Well, guys, I want to thank you for some amazing input today on wrap up on the show. But I can't end without saying that this is going to be, unfortunately, one of your last SMTAs.
Certainly with my KYZEN badge on. Right. So I'm retiring, so that's exciting. I'm expecting to do a consultancy, and we'll see whether that's of interest to anyone or not. But
sure, it will be.
But you never know. You don't count your chickens. But it's been an amazing career, 30 plus years, and when I was on the board, SMTAi was born.
Right.
So I've always considered this event, have a very personal relationship with
Your
it.
extended family.
And because we were getting it going, but it's been a great experience. It's been a great life.
Well, I've got to say, Tom, I mean, you've made a huge contribution to the industry and to the association as well.
Well, you're very kind. So it's we get a lot more back than we give.
Yeah.
And it's been a blast. So we'll see. The next chapter, I'm sure, will be interesting, and chances are I will turn up.
You will turn up for sure.
Well,
That we can guarantee.
Look forward to it, but just one slight correction, sir. SMTAi had its 40th birthday this year.
It did.
Your 30 plus years, if you were there before the SMTAi, is like a little bit longer.
SMTAi
right.
started in 2007.
Yeah, that was a bit later.
I believe it was.
Yeah, because
not the association, the show.
Yeah.
show.
Because there was a whole thing, because the original show from SMTAi was SMI.
SMI, correct.
In San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
That was a joint venture between
Miller-
SMTAi, IPC, and Miller Freeman.
Miller Freeman. Yeah.
Whoa.
That was a great successful event for many years out in San Jose that I started going to 32 years ago.
I think there was a fourth partner in that show.
Might have
wasn't
been.
there?
I know those three for sure. But
One of the other
might have been.
associations.
So that carbon dating was more about the event
Oh, the
rather
event.
than the association.
That's okay,
No.
that's
At the gala last night.
Yeah.
They put together a marvelous slideshow, and while I recognized lots of the faces in there were plenty of people that were before my time that were instrumental in having SMTAi exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Those early folks, when you come in later, you just can't appreciate the challenges that those early folks deal with, whether it's in a company or an association.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once they get, it's just like everything else. Once the flywheel starts spinning, it's a lot. No matter how hard it is to keep it going, it's easier than getting it started.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I must say, it was really nice this week to see Joanne Stromberg and Gail.
And Gail. Oh, it was wonderful to see them here because again, they are the ones that started SMTAi. They of course started SMTAi as well.
Of course.
But they started the event that we're here at today. So it was great to see them. It was great, Gail. It was, Joanne, I knew was going to come, and I was so thrilled to see Gail come.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Well, that's a great point to end on. So thank you for your contribution, guys. And that's it from SMTAi. Thank you for watching.